Hi everyone, my name's Daniel and I love gadgets. And today I have got two smartwatches to show you. One is the Amazfit Pace and the other is the Amazfit Stratos, which is basically the Amazfit Pace 2. So I'm going to be comparing these two smartwatches to see what the differences are, what the differences in specs, which one I prefer. By the end of this video, you should have a pretty good idea of which one is best for you. But anyway, let's get started and have a closer look at these two smartwatches from Amazfit. So let's first look at the Amazfit Pace, which is the kind of first generation smartwatch from Amazfit. Yeah, it's a great watch. I've had it for a few months now and I really like it. Now the Amazfit Stratos is the second version. It's kind of like the Amazfit Pace 2, but they just changed the name to Stratos. So this is a newer watch. It was just released earlier this year in January. It features a whole new design along with some improved specs, but largely it's the same on the inside. We'll go through the specs in a bit, but as you can see, it's a completely different design. Right, so we've got these two smartwatches, both are very good value, both under $200. The Amazfit Stratos is a more expensive one because it's newer. The Amazfit Pace is only $120, I think, last time I checked, which is amazing. Good value for what you get. We will now look at the specs of both these watches to see what the differences are. So let's start with the Amazfit Pace. The Amazfit Pace features an LCD screen of 1.34 inches, a resolution of 320 by 300. It can connect via Bluetooth, GPS, Wi-Fi, USB. It has a heart rate sensor, an accelerometer, a gyroscope and a compass. And it can track your steps, your calories, heart rate, distance, speed, and your sleep quality. It can display notifications from your phone. It connects wirelessly via Bluetooth to do that, and it will show you anything from a phone call to WhatsApp to Facebook to messages will display on your screen and give you some information. It's got an IP67 water resistant rating, which basically means it's splash proof, so you can't take it underwater. You probably shouldn't take it in a shower, but if you get it a bit wet, then it's not going to break. It's got a 280 mAh battery, which should last up to 5 days, maybe a bit longer if you disable some of the features such as GPS. It should last a little bit longer. And like I say, it's just over $100 depending on where you buy it, so probably between $100 and $150. And yeah, it's certainly one of the cheapest smartwatches to have all of these different features. Now, the Amazfit Stratos, which is the second generation, it's got a 1.34 inch reflective OLED screen. It's got the same Bluetooth, GPS, Wi-Fi and USB connectivity. It also has the same heart rate sensor, accelerometer, gyroscope and compass. It also has a barometer, and it tracks the same kind of things. It tracks steps, calories, heart rate, distance, speed and sleep quality. It also displays notifications from your phone exactly the same way as the Pace. Now, one of the major differences between the two is that the Amazfit Stratos is waterproof up to 50 meters, which is quite impressive. That means you can take it swimming, you can definitely take it in a shower, and you will not get it damaged and it will survive. The battery is also 280 mAh, but the battery is slightly less efficient, so you may struggle to get it to 5 days, but it shouldn't be anything less than 4 days if you, don't overuse all the features like GPS. Now, the price of this is around about $200, depending on where you buy it from, so it's more expensive by about $50 to $80 than the Amazfit Pace. So if we just consider the specs of the two watches, they are pretty much the same. There's not much between them. The Amazfit Stratos has a slightly different screen, but in reality it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. Both screens are very clear and you can't see any individual pixels even up close. The only major difference really is that the Amazfit Stratos is waterproof up to 50 meters, which is quite useful if you are quite sporty, going to go skiing, swimming, you want to take this in the shower, you don't want to have to take it off all the time, then that is definitely a major plus. The only other major difference between these two watches is the design. So let's take a closer look at both these watches and see which one is preferable. So let's start with the Amazfit Pace. This was the first smartwatch I ever had and I actually really liked it. It's very smooth, very simple design, but that's what I kind of like. It's just basically a touch screen and it's got one small button at the top which allows you to activate the backlight and make some selection. The silicone strap is very comfortable. I really like the orange color scheme, goes very well with the black. And overall, the watch is very comfortable to wear. I mean, it may appear slightly thick sometimes, but in reality, it's just very comfortable to wear even all day. It's not too apparent under clothing. I think it looks really good as well. It looks very modern. It looks very sleek. I've had people asking me about the watch when they've seen it. They ask me what it was. They want to have a look. I have almost no problems with the design of the Amazfit Pace. It's pretty much what I expected. I usually go for thinner watches because I have very skinny wrists. So big watches don't tend to work that well for me. And I was even quite concerned that this may be too big for me, but it turns out it's fine. So yeah, even if you have a smaller wrist, the Amazfit Pace is probably going to be fine for you. Now, the Amazfit Stratos is designed differently, as I've said. It's got a textured body, whereas the Amazfit Pace is smooth. I quite like the look of this watch as a kind of more rugged, sporty looking watch. It definitely looks like it means business. It's got these 3 manual controls, which allow you to, activate the watch, make some selections. You can even move through menus. So it's certainly easy to use. If you don't like using touch screen, you can use manual controls. It does resemble those kind of sports Rolex watches. I think that's kind of the look they were going for. The main issue I have with this watch is that it's even thicker than the Amazfit Pace by quite a lot actually. It's at least a third thicker than the previous version, and for me this is just too thick. After wearing it for a full day it really does start to annoy me. If you're wearing a long sleeve t-shirt or a shirt or a jumper, it does kind of stick out and it does kind of interfere. I keep having to move the watch kind of further up my wrist because it just keeps bumping into like my wrist joint and it just, you know, becomes uncomfortable. I think this is mostly because, again, I have quite thin wrists, so these big watches don't work well if you have a thin wrist. So if you are used to wearing bigger watches and you know that that's comfortable for you, this should be fine. But for those with a slender wrist, maybe it's not going to be as comfortable. It certainly wasn't for me. Again, I've been wearing this for a few weeks and I have had friends come up to me and ask me about it and want to try it on, and they say it looks very cool, and I agree, it does. Now, the resolution of both watches are exactly the same, 320 by 300, and this is more than enough for a 1.34-inch screen. Text and images are very clear, very sharp, and you will have no problem reading even small print on either of these watches. So that's my comparison of the Amazfit Stratos and the Amazfit Pace. As you've probably worked out, they are quite similar in terms of specs. The only difference really is the design and the fact that the Amazfit Stratos is waterproof. If I had to choose between these two, then I would still go with the Amazfit Pace because I'm not going to be using the waterproof feature that much. I don't go swimming that often and I don't live near the sea. So I would choose the Amazfit Pace just because it's more comfortable for my slimmer wrists, and I just generally prefer slimmer, smaller watches compared to the larger, more rugged design of the Amazfit Stratos. However, the Stratos is still a really great smartwatch. It works perfectly. I've never had any bugs or any issues with it. And it does look good. It's just not comfortable for me personally. But I guess that's more of a personal decision. If you know larger watches work for you, then this could still be a great watch. Especially if you really need that waterproof feature, then this is basically the best value waterproof smartwatch that I've ever come across. But my number one choice is the Amazfit Pace, and this is the watch that I'm going to continue to wear. Both of these smartwatches are available now, and you can check the link in the description to see where you can get them for the cheapest price, because I've done some research to try and find, you know, the best place to buy them. I've also got a written comparison between these two watches if you want to check that out, just for more details, some more specs. You can also see that in the description. And if you enjoyed this, if you want to see more videos, if you like gadgets, then subscribe because I've got plenty more coming. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it was useful, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.